People often get frustrated with themselves when they can't seem to use what they know. So we know that it's important to exercise, to sleep, to have a good diet, and yet we have all sorts of barriers when we try to put those things in place. Daniel Siegel came up with something called the hand model of the brain, and it's a way of understanding kind of how the brain works in the face of stressors, which can help us understand what gets in our way. So think of the forearm as the spinal cord. So that's where all of the information comes into the brain, and the palm of the hand is old brain. So that's the part of the brain that's responsible for our heart rate, our breathing, our blood pressure, all these things we never even think about. So that part of the brain is like the hypothalamus and the pituitary. Our thumb is the memory and emotion part of our brain. So that's the hippocampus and the limbic system. So the first thing to notice is that the two of these things are connected. So that means that when I remember something that was positive from my past, it makes me go, ah. And when I remember something that was really difficult or stressful, then I tense up and my heart rate goes up and my breathing changes. Now the fingers are new brain. So that's the part of the brain that's responsible for problem solving and abstract thinking and integrating information. So when things are good, when we're feeling safe and settled, then this is how it's all coming together. The new brain is wrapped around the old brain. So that means we're always interpreting the present through the lens of our past. So what does this mean? Well, let's put it in an example. Let's say I was attacked by a dog as a child. Then when I'm like this, when I'm feeling all settled and connected and I'm feeling safe, then I know that the dog that my kids are playing with is not the dog that attacked me, and I'm fine. But if that dog does anything at all that reminds me or triggers me to the memory of what happened to me, then I'm much more likely to flip my lid. And I'm gonna start interacting with that dog as if it's the dog that hurt me. And my rational thinking part of the brain isn't online anymore. Although I could probably still tell you that's not the same dog, it would be really difficult to convince me, because that rational thinking part is not connected, remember, not to swoop up my kids and get the heck out of Dodge. The next time you're having a hard time implementing something that you know, or you're finding that you're getting stressed out by things, there's a couple of things to do. One is be curious about where the stressor is coming from, because every stressor has a history. So if I wasn't attacked by a dog, then I wouldn't have that same stressor. If I learned that people are dangerous or the world is dangerous, then just having a stranger make conversation with me could be a stressor for me and might be enough for me to flip my lid. And so the first question is, where is the stressor coming from? What's going on? And then it's what to do about it. So there are specific things that can help when we're flipped, that can help us come back down. Because when that rational thinking part of the brain isn't on, then the talking and rationalizing just doesn't work. I'm sure many of you have tried to convince someone who's really agitated to settle down. Not super effective. So the things that you can do are things like self-soothing. Self-soothing is when you have skin-to-skin contact, so whether you take your own hand or wrist, some people will choose to touch their neck or their chest, but skin-to-skin contact, and you talk to yourself in a validating and reassuring way. Just like that, and you just pay attention to that feeling of your hand against your chest. One of the other strategies that can be very helpful is something called grounding, where you bring all of your attention and all of your five senses to one thing, like a stone or pick up some dirt or a leaf, and you can touch it and smell it and look at it. Grounding helps us get contained and come back to the present when our mind is going somewhere else. I hope this was helpful. As always, we would love to hear your feedback, so feel free to leave any comments or contact us through any of our social media.